Have you ever wondered why one of your coworkers is always 10 minutes early, while another is consistently scrambling to find their keys? When we observe these reliable, everyday patterns in how people think, feel, and act, we are looking at personality traits. To map out these behavioral differences, psychologists rely on a framework called the five-factor model. You can remember its primary dimensions with the acronym OCEAN: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Look closely at how this distribution is shaped. Popular culture often treats traits as binary switches, assuming you are either an absolute extrovert or a total introvert. But traits actually operate as continuous distributions. The vast majority of people fall somewhere near the middle, with only a few outliers at the extreme ends. Because everyone exists somewhere along all five of these continuous spectrums, the OCEAN framework provides an essential macro-level read to establish an individual's behavioral baseline. But human behavior is complex, and sometimes a broad baseline encounters a contradiction. Consider someone who scores exceptionally high in extroversion. They love chatting with strangers at parties, but if you ask them to give a public speech, they freeze and panic. To resolve this, we break the broad trait down into specific subcategories known as facets. Extroversion is made up of distinct units like gregariousness, warmth, assertiveness, and excitement-seeking. Now the behavior makes mathematical sense. Our subject scores extremely high in the gregariousness and warmth facets, explaining their comfort at the party. But their assertiveness facet is at the extreme low end, which perfectly isolates the cause of the microphone panic. Broad traits give you a helpful general summary. But when you need to make accurate behavioral predictions for specific scenarios, you must zoom in and analyze this precise facet-level data. Beyond immediate social reactions, these metrics allow us to forecast long-term outcomes. Let's look closely at conscientiousness, which researchers closely link to major career and health trajectories. Highly conscientious behavior operates sequentially. Small, trait-driven daily habits, like diligently meeting deadlines or organizing study materials, mathematically stack on top of each other. Over time, these daily actions aggregate into major professional milestones. This predictive model also applies to physical longevity. The consistent tendency to follow rules and prioritize order makes an individual more likely to wear a seatbelt and exercise, cascading into better overall health. Personality traits operate a lot like compound interest. Consistent daily behavioral tendencies add up over years to form highly predictable life trajectories. But what happens when the environment pushes back? In the late 1960s, psychologists engaged in the person-situation debate, testing the theory that environmental context can completely override a person's natural traits. Take a child navigating two different environments. In a high-pressure classroom where the rewards for cheating are high, they might break the rules and look at another student's test. But when playing a low-stakes board game in a relaxed living room, that same child exhibits perfect honesty. The specific situation is driving the action. Let's test this concept. Imagine a highly agreeable and conscientious coworker screams at a cashier and shows up late to work. Based on the person-situation debate, why shouldn't you assume their personality has completely changed? Pause and think. The answer is that traits only predict average behavior over a broad aggregate of time. Momentary isolated actions are heavily dictated by immediate situational stressors. To accurately analyze behavior, you must look at the long-term trend rather than a single outlier. Let's bring all these variables together into a single practical application. Imagine you are evaluating a new hire, and you need to determine the ideal situational placement for them within your company. First, you conduct the macro and micro read. You observe their high broad extroversion score. But zooming in, you isolate a distinct facet combination: exceptionally high warmth paired with extremely low assertiveness. Next, you apply the situational variable. Based on this precise profile, placing them in an aggressive management role will trigger failure, but slotting them into a one-on-one customer support environment will optimize their traits for long-term aggregate success. Predicting human behavior requires a structured approach. Assess the Big Five baseline, zoom in to read the facets,